Hey gang, it's JC, and this is the Daily Dose for Tuesday, March 29th, 2011. A combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We have archives up at the top of the page, some great old television history and some old stuff that I was involved in. And then right below what you're looking at right now is what we call Eye Candy, and it's a daily feature. Changes every day. It's either a viral video or a photograph or something. We have a lot of baseball stuff this week, given the fact we have opening day coming up in 2 weeks. And don't forget our big opening day extravaganza. We're getting an extra hour on the air. We start at 9 on the Big 550 KTRS. Thursday morning live from Hooters at 7th and Chestnut. We go on the air at 9, not 10, go until 1 o'clock. I got more stuff this year. I added up. It's a 4-hour show. And the other night I added up everything I have and figured, okay, let's see what this adds up to. Are we going to be long or are we going to be short? And it came out to 7 hours and 14 minutes. It's a 4-hour show. So needless to say, a lot of stuff is going to be on the editing room floor, but also means that just the creme de la creme, the best, funniest, most entertaining songs and comedy bits and parodies and some history and some montages, some somewhat poignant stuff that I think is going to capture your attention. So, you're going to have Stan Musial, you're going to have Chuck Berry sing and Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and after it's over you may question whether Chuck Berry actually was ever in the music business. We have Mickey Mantle, one of the oldest things I have in my archives, an interview I did with Mickey Mantle back in 1981. It's unbelievable. The Jose Kendo song, of course. What else we got here? Tim McCarver from back in the 1960s. I asked him, it was sort of like a stroll down memory lane, a little bit of a history lesson. So when you were playing, in the early and mid-1960s, where did you guys go? What was St. Louis like back in those days? Because I wasn't around here then. I was like 10, 11 years old. I was living in Chicago. Who did you hang out with? What restaurants did you go to? What was St. Louis like? And it's a really interesting little segment we did with McCarver. We have Willie McGee's farewell speech on the field at Busch Stadium. We have Bob Costas telling the Miss Cheesecake story, and I think the only recording there is of this, and that is the actual event, the Miss Cheesecake story involving Jack Buck, Mike Shannon, and Bob Starr live on the air in the late 1970s on a Cardinal broadcast. It is absolutely hilarious when you hear this, and a little bit filthy. We have all the Mets or Pond Scum stuff. You have Ozzy Osbourne singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. We have Steven Tyler of American Idol, Aerosmith, and he threw out the first pitch at Busch Stadium back in 1998. We have a little conversation with him. We have Al Raboski and Bob Ramsey doing the play-by-play of me versus the old sports monster on the old show, Steve Schlanger. Schlanger called me an old man. I said, get a bat, and I'm going to warm up. And we're going out. It was Busch Stadium. It was in the middle of a charity baseball game that we were playing out there. We stopped the game. Got a catcher, got an umpire, and we had Bob Ramsey and Al Raboski call the play-by-play of the big face-off, the big showdown between a much older JC and a young punk by the name of Steve Schlanger. You know the whole thing play out. Darrell Hammond of Saturday Night Live doing play-by-play as celebrity politicians. We have, back in 1982, did I put this away? It's in the briefcase. I'll read it to you tomorrow. Back in 1982 when the Cardinals won the World Series, we have about a 4 or 5 minute montage we put together of the coverage of the World Series activities and parade and all that stuff. Some of the names like Herb Humphreys and Debbie Fabian, Paul Alexander, Tim Van Gelder, a very young Robin Smith, Lori Waters, who was just she wasn't in that. I'll tell you tomorrow. I'll give you the whole rundown. Okay, but it's really cool to listen to and talk about a stroll down memory lane. And, of course, what opening day show would be complete without Alec Baldwin and the gang on Saturday Night Live doing the Sweaty Wiener routine. So some of the things you can look forward to starting at 9 in the morning and going until 1 o'clock, live from Hooters at 7th and Chestnut, part of our big opening day celebration Thursday on the Big 550 KTRS. And then John Brown will go from 1 until 3 o'clock. All right, let's get to the news. The man who invented super glue has died at the age of 94. The family requested he be lowered into his grave by a crane attached to a construction helmet. Remember the commercial? Okay, then you're laughing. Leah Michelle from Glee involved in a accident on Friday. She got to work and told everybody, says, hey, man, that guy nailed me from behind over the weekend. And all of her male co-stars said, me too. Barry Bonds. Whoa. Yesterday, court testimony by the ex-girlfriend. Oh, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, huh? So her name is Kimberly Bell. And it is interesting because they shared a romantic relationship that continued even after Barry Bonds married another woman back in 1999. This chick must have been good, you know. Anyhow, she says that Bond's sexual performance declined in the latter years of their relationship because his testicles shrinked and they just shrinked up and then they shrunk up and then they changed shape and then he got acne all over his back and chest hair in places where it wasn't supposed to be, and visible behavior became much more aggressive. Just a really damning testimony. And what else she say? She also acknowledged being upset and embarrassed when Bonds told her in 1998 he was marrying another woman. And he said, let me just get this one right. She testified after Bonds got married that he told the mistress, he said to her, there are girlfriend cities and wife cities, and that she wasn't allowed to travel with him to New York, Montreal, or Atlanta. Game on. All right, we heard yesterday Trisha's trash, and it's confirmed here this morning, when those Charlie Sheen tickets went on sale for his live stage show. They're like, oh, they sold out in 18 minutes. Well, now we're starting to get the truth of the whole thing. The scalpers bought up the tickets in 18 minutes, and it turns out now that a couple of other websites, StubHub and stuff like that, for example, in Detroit, 1,200 tickets available, and that's only a 5,000-seat arena. Almost 1,100 seats left for the Chicago show. Radio City Music Hall dates, well over 1,000 tickets for both shows. You knew something was fishy, didn't you? Elizabeth Taylor was worth at least $600 million when she died last week. In addition to her charities, Elizabeth's estate is going to be split between her 4 children. Between or among. It's among, yeah. Between is between 2 people. Among is more than 2. All right. New York Post is reporting that when her contract is up in June, Katie Couric is going to become a full-time correspondent for CBS 60 Minutes, and that she's going to get her own daytime talk show. In exchange for that, it looks like Scott Pelley, who has been a 60 Minutes correspondent for quite a few years now, may be the guy who slides into the anchor chair. I think he's a solid guy, great reporter. I think he's just great on camera, all that sort of stuff. I'm not sure that this is the solution to CBS News problems, but we'll see. Katie Couric may be joining the cast of 60 Minutes, though. That would immediately bring down the average age of their reporters to 94. All right, Justin Bieber is 17 years old right now, according to a new poll by 60 Minutes and Vanity Fair. 30% expect him to be in some sort of celebrity rehab in 10 years. Here's a pretty random effect of the NFL lockout. No NFL players are allowed to walk into a Kenny Chesney show or any other event for that matter if it's being held in an NFL stadium. If you're in the NFL, you're part of the contract lockout. You can't go to a stadium. You can't work out at your stadium. You can't talk to your coaches. And Kenny Chesney has more than 10 NFL stadium shows left on his itinerary this year. Donald Trump, I'm getting sick of this guy. He's just fooling around with our political system. And other people have done it too, but taking things a little too far. You wonder why people don't vote. You know, and then you get this stuff like what's happening in mid-Missouri and Jefferson County, or Jefferson City, where they're going to try to undo the election results on the puppy mill bill. So I used to get really mad at people when they said they didn't vote, and now, you know, who can blame them? You know, because they're undoing votes, and you get clown asses running for president. And Donald Trump has become a birther, and he insists on saying a Barack Obama birth certificate. So they gave him one. He says, no, this isn't any good, even though it's a birth certificate like you would get if you needed one to get a passport or something like that. And Trump has just decided it's no good. So then Donald Trump produced his own birth certificate. Guess what? Exact same thing. The march toward achievements in the advertising industry has reached a new, well, depending on how you look at it, either a high or a low. The Erie County Holding Center in New York has installed flat-screen HD TVs in its cells so they can show ads to prisoners. They think it might generate about $15,000 a year. All right, new on video today. Finally, you can go see this yourself in the comfort of your own living room, whatever the case may be. I told you after I saw The Black Swan, Natalie Portman won the Academy Award for this thing, and I told you it was the most absurdly stupid movie I had ever seen. Eric Mink, differed with me. More and more critics, more and more reporters, and more people who like movies got on the bandwagon later on and said, yeah, this movie is really stupid. It's just all over the road. I don't get it. It's a mess. And they gave her the Academy Award anyhow. A couple of naughty scenes there with Mila Kunis, who, by the way, is really good in the movie. People kept saying, well, you can hate the movie and like Natalie Portman's performance. All right, two things. Number one, I adore Natalie Portman. You want to see her in a good movie? See a movie called Closer. Not The Closer, Closer. Okay, it's a Mike Nichols movie. Julia Roberts, Clive Owen, people like that are in this movie. But she's not good. She's overacting in this movie. So I have nothing but bad things to say about Black Swan, except for Mila Kunis, I think, is pretty good in the movie. I didn't know she was as good an actress as she turned out to be there. Also coming out today, Fair Game, Sean Penn and Naomi Watts, in the true story of Valerie Plame, the ambassador's wife who worked undercover at the CIA. And it also shows you how full of crap Fox News is and was and continues to be, because they tried to sort of portray her like as a secretary or something like that. And she was far more than that. Let's just leave it at that. All right, JC's Eye Candy today. Maybe you missed it last week, but on 30 Rock, which is just an amazing show. If you're not watching it, you should. It's just incredible. But there was an Albert Pujols reference on 30 Rock last week. And the storyline, Jack Donaghy, who's played by Alec Baldwin, purchases a gay cable network, but since he knows nothing about the gay lifestyle, the whole thing just crashes, and they try to do a gay sports center, and there's an Albert Pujols reference in it, and we have the still shot from that whole thing. You should check it out. It's actually very, very funny. So that's it. We're just gearing up for our opening day show on Thursday. I don't care what the weather's going to be. We're going to do the show anyhow, because right now they're going back and forth, back and forth. Last night they were saying, okay, it looks like we could have a little rain, maybe even a couple of snow pellets or something like that. Temperatures aren't going to get out of the mid-40s. I get up today, they're back to saying low 50s with like a 30% chance of a sprinkle, maybe not even until after the game is over. So I'm getting the idea. They don't have the slightest idea what's going to happen on Thursday, so we're just going ahead with our plans. I'm sure you are too. In the meantime, that's it. JC's Daily Dose for Tuesday, March 29th, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.